Okay, welcome back to this last part. Finally, let's create the GUI. Maybe you remember from the first part that if you click on this resizable floor, this nice menu appears, and we will use the definition of this menu, which is located in the script here, to create our own interface. You may remember that I told you not to click here, since if you do so, you see, you just killed the script. So I undo this, and in case you already killed the script, you can go to this model browser, go for infrastructure, floors, and then scroll down, and here you see there are resizable floors. Just drag and drop them somewhere, and see, you got your script back. Okay, so let me delete this one. So yeah, let's double click this gray icon, and you see a bunch of code is appearing, and we really want to look for our GUI. So maybe you remember the title of the GUI was Floor Customizer. So just look for a string floor customizer. The strings will always be yellow, so it's easy to look for. Okay, boom, UI title, user interface title. That's really what we are looking for. And this yellowish text here is XML code. It is stored in a variable XML, and then after this code block, you'll see simui.create XML, and this will simply execute the code that is written in here and create the GUI. So let us test if that's really the case, and let's say the title is speed control, and then next option is closable, and that's okay. We want it to be closable, true. And then here you see on close, and here the function close event handler. So if you close the GUI, this function will shoot. So the function definition is over here, and you see sim.remove script. So this dude is actually responsible for killing our script. So let's delete this and see the consequences. See, the title has changed, and if you close the GUI, the script will still be here. But of course we will not implement our GUI in the resizable floor. We will go over here to the base. Usually people choose the base to locate their script, but you could use any other object here. So right click, add, and then go for associated child script, non-threaded, and you'll see two new items here. Just double click this first one, and this will be our code. You see there is already some commented code in here. It's pretty nice, so it gives you a hint how you can use functions and what you can do. But let me delete this up to line 30, and let me delete everything but line 7 here, since I think this is pretty important. You'll see it in a second. Okay, now let's open our resizable floor script again. Scroll down, then simply copy these lines of code. Okay, close this, we don't need it anymore, and then paste it in here. Let's see what we have. See, if you hit play, then it's really this code that is executed. This is not the due to the resizable floor. Okay, let's modify our XML code. So in order to do so, I won't do it in here, since everything is yellow and it's not very nicely readable. So I'll open up a text editor that is able to display the color coding of the XML code, so it will be easier to read. XML. Okay, so let's go through it line by line. So this UI means, okay, we are starting a user interface, and down here it is closed. Then we have the title, we have the option closable, resizable, and so on. And if you want to know what these options mean and what other options you can use, for example, the onClose method that we just deleted, you can go to the Coppelia Robotics site, and there is a very nice explanation of the XML syntax. So here you see the UI object, and you see all the closable, resizable. These are all the options you have. And it's pretty long. You have everything: combo box, groups, H sliders, images, and so on. Okay, you'll see the link down in the description. Okay, now let's edit the XML code. Okay, that's everything is okay here. Then we have a group, and I think this group is here to nicely align the objects we have in here. So then here we have our first text. The text is always a label object, and the text is x size in meters. Let's change this. Let's have this to be our arm speed in radians per second, and add the placeholder 000 as a default number. And you see every object gets an ID, and it's important that every object has a distinct ID, otherwise you'll get an error. So this H slider, for example, it can't have the same ID as the label. Okay, let's go to the H slider. This will be located to the right of the label text, so this corresponds to the arm speed. Okay, tick position above, that's nice. Tick interval is 1. I think you only can insert integer values here, so no floating point numbers. But let's change the minimum to -10 and the maximum to 10. And then on change, so if you start modifying the slider, this function will be executed. But I don't like the name of this function, so let's call this actuate arm. Okay, you can use whatever you like here. It should make sense to you. Okay, then we have our next text. Let's say this is our grab speed in meters per second, 0.00. ID is 3. It's nice. It's okay. Let's have -10 again. -10, 10, and let's have here actuate grab. And now let's copy this and paste it 2 times. There will be a surprise down here. Okay, then we have the hoist distinct ID. Let's give it the 5. Let's give this the 6. And here we have the function actuate hoist. And now here ID 7. Let's give this the ID 8. here, let me place magnet. But this magnet will not have a H slider, but a button. And the button has no tick position, no tick interval, no maximum. Okay, just delete these. But it has an on-click functionality. So if you click the button, then this function will be executed, magnet. Okay, and what we also like, or first let's text. Button has a text. Call this deactivated. And let me add another option, checkable equals true. So this button will have two states, so it may be either checked or unchecked. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I copy this code and let's move on here in this code editor. Paste it down here, save and play. You see? Oops. That's really the thing. Okay, we have everything we want. Of course it has no functionality, and if I start modifying these H sliders, we will get the errors: unknown location, actuate arm, and of course it doesn't know anything about these functions. Okay, and this yellow indicates error. Okay, so if something yellow is going on down here, it's not a good sign. Okay, let's fix these errors by simply introducing these functions. So simply write function, and then our first function will be actuate arm, and that's all it needs. Okay, 4 times. Then actuate grab. Okay, hoist and magnet. Let's hit play again, and you see the errors are gone. No errors. Nice. So, but of course, I mean, what happened is this function got called and then it ended. So pretty boring. So let's place something in here. So what we really like to do here is we somehow need to get access to this arm actuator, right? We need to have access to this target velocity. We want to change the target velocity of this joint, right? So what we need is we need a handle to this joint, and what we can do is we can define this handle globally. Let's do it globally. So we initializing it, and if we don't write anything in front of a variable, so if we don't write local, then the value or the variable will be global, which means we defined it in this function, but we have also access to it in this function or in this function. Okay, that's the principle of global and local. And of course you would like to have your objects local whenever possible. So I'm not doing it in this video, since it's not a programming course. Okay, sorry. Let's call this handle arm, and then sim is a very important keyword. We will use it a lot. Get object handle, so we get a handle to this object. So we need to place the name we gave, arm actuator. Make sure spelling is correct. And this will simply return an integer value. So I think here it will return a 2. but you will never hard code the number. So I think it will start at 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Since as soon as you start modifying the hierarchy, or if you add an object above the base, it will fail. So that's why you always get this object handle. This is simply a number, a distinct number. Okay, 3 times. Arm grab hoist, grab and hoist. Let's play. Okay, no errors, so it found the objects. I think if you have a typo here, yeah, see, you'll get an error. Always check. Okay, now we have the handle. So let's use the keyword sim dot. And what do we want to do? So we want to set the arm speed. So why not trying set? And you see this nice drop down menu. So what you could do is just look for the function you really want. So no, not target position, but here, you see, there we go, set joint target velocity. That's what we need. And then braces, and you see it tells us it needs 2 arguments. What is the first argument? It's the number object handle, and that's what we've created over here. And since these variables are global, we are able to access the arm in this function. So we can simply say arm, comma, and then plug in the velocity. Let's try 0.5. Okay, so as soon as I modify this H slider, see, the arm starts rotating. But of course we don't want 0.5 here. We want to have the value of the H slider. And this is actually pretty nice what's happening. So if this function gets called by this onChange attribute, you may expect, okay, there are no arguments passed here, but that's wrong. Okay, so there are 3 arguments passed by the H slider onChange function call. The first one is the number of the user interface. I'll call it UI. You could call it whatever you want. So if you have multiple user interfaces, this UI may be 1 or 2, or so that's the first variable that gets passed. Then the second one will be the ID of the object that was executing the function. And this is helpful if you have one function that is called by 2 different H slider, for example, then you can distinguish which H slider called the function. So this is not, in our case, we don't need it, but therefore you would use it. This is the ID. And then last but not least, there's the new value. Okay, so this is the value we are interested in. People also call it new val normally. Okay, so let's plug this new value in here and hit play again. And you see the arm is doing what it should do. What you could also do is, for debugging, you can say print new val. Okay, so hit stop and play again. And then you see, as soon as you modify the H slider, the numbers will get printed out in the console. So it can be useful sometimes to inspect the variables. Okay, but you've seen, we are talking about radians per second, and 3 radians per second is a little bit fast for this grain, no? So let's scale this down. So let's use a local variable here. Local val will be equal to, I say, 0.02 times the new val. Okay, and then let's plug in the val here. Okay, let's hit stop and play again. So you see, it's a much finer adjustments, but we still don't see the real number. You know, what is the speed, the target speed. To do this, we go again, sim dot, and you know, we want to set something again. So we want to, oh sorry, we're not going for sim, we're going for the other very important keyword. This is sim UI. So I'm not talking about the simulation, but I'm talking about the user interface. Sorry. So, but the principle is the same. So we want to set something, right? So we want to set, what we want to set is, we want to set the text of this label, right? We want to replace this 0.02 to whatever value this val has, okay? So why not trying set label text? And you see, set label text. There we go. Okay, it needs, here it tells us it needs 4 arguments, but I think the last one is optional, so we only need 3. And the first one will be the number of the user interface we are talking about. So that is why we use this, we need this UI. So UI, comma, and then number ID. This will be the number of the label we want to set. So this label has the ID 1. So let's plug in a 1, comma. And now some very nice function to combine strings and numbers and round numbers is the following. You go, so here it really, I mean, let's try lol, and just to show you what's going on. So as soon as you modify the slider, you will change this label text to whatever is in here. Okay, that happened. So, but what we want is, we would like to have something, you know, something like this, but here we would like to plug in this val rounded to 2 decimal places, and therefore go for string.format, close the braces, comma, and here you have a %.2f, and simply plug in the val here. And what this, I'm calling it object, means is simply this % dot indicates that the number will arrive. You will round it to 2 decimal places, and it will be a floating point number. I mean, you could also do and %i, which means there will be an integer value. So the second, let's make it 2.2, play, see, and 0.0000, and 2, so it just floored the 2. So if you have an 8 here, it won't round it up to 3, but it will just be stay at 2. And this is how you can, you know, have numbers and text easily together, and it's very nicely readable. Okay, I mean we're nearly done. We are nearly done with the stuff you've expected. Let me copy and paste all this stuff. So we also need these one. Okay, then let me change the scalar a little bit. So here I use 0.15, here 0.25, And okay, here we need to modify the crab. Okay, and the crab label text has the ID 3, so this will have the ID 5, and here crab hoist meters per second, and that's it. Okay, let's see. Okay, works. Okay, but what about the magnet? Okay, I mean, now I showed you maybe what you've expected, but I looked at the scene and I thought, like, okay, I mean, we have this nice crane, but we can't lift and release an object, and that's very boring. And since it's pretty easy actually to do, I will show it now. So therefore, just rearrange this hierarchy a little bit. So let's drag and drop this mass out and go to translation, mouse translation in Z. Let's move this, say, somewhere here. It will fall on the floor. Okay, this will be the mass we would like to move. Okay, and now let's add something very cool. Let's go into the model browser. I'm closing this script for now. Go to components, grippers. We'll not use such a fancy hand, but this innocent looking suction pad, it's very small. So this is some information. So crucial information is here. For the suction pad to be operational, make sure you attach it to a force sensor itself attached to a shape object. Okay, so we need a shape object, let's say a cylinder and a force sensor. Let me zoom in on this suction pad. Okay. Okay, let's add a cylinder. Right click, add primitive shape cylinder. Okay, let's move this along C up, then right click, add force sensor, move it along Z. Okay, let's align this one. So I select this, hit shift, select this, go to position, and let's apply the X and Y coordinates. Okay, so let's add the force sensor to the cylinder and the suction pad to the force sensor. So we got a nice little package here. So you see, you can, it moves all together. What we also need to do here is the hoist actuator. We need to increase the range. 5.3 is not enough, so let's go for 6 meters, minus 6 meters. Okay, it's fine. And now finally we can drag and drop the cylinder into the hoist actuator. Yes, and we need to, of course, we need to align it correctly in X and Y. And let's grab this cylinder and move it along Z somewhere here. Okay, so let's see what we have. Let's hit play, lower the hoist, and you see, that's pretty awesome. Let's move it a little bit forward. Yeah. And what you can do is, see, suction pad, click on this second icon. These are the script parameters. And during simulation, you're able to change this value. So let's say this is false. See, it released it, but of course, you never ever modify this, causing the simulation to pause and then write true here. No, we're not doing this. So therefore we have this nice button, and you see per default the magnet will be deactivated. So let's fix that. Double click the script parameters, and you see there are nice other objects. I mean, now we have infinite strength selected, so I think these values won't play any role as long as this is true. But we're interested in this active variable, so false. And now let's connect this to our GUI finally. So therefore we need a handle. We don't need the handle to the geometric object, but we need the handle to the script. Okay, so what we need here is, let's call this suction is equal to sim.get. Well, what do we want to get? We want to get script handle. Okay, that easy. And we want to have the script handle to the suction pad. So suction pad. Okay, good. Let's go to the actuate magnet function. And what we need to do here is, if we clicked the button, we need to know whether it was activated or deactivated, the magnet. So let's create a local variable called state is equal to, and now we really want to read whether this suction pad is active or not, and if it is active we will deactivate it, and if it's deactivated we will activate it. Okay, makes sense. This is a sim dot, so what do we want? We want to get something. Okay, get, and this is we get script simulation, and I think you only need to write simul, and it will be the only one. Get simulation parameter. A pretty long word. Okay, what does it need? So number script handle. So we already created it. It was the suction, comma. And what parameter do we want to read? We want to read the active parameter, right? So no, here in the suction pad, parameter name is active. Okay, so active. And now if the magnet is on, the state will have the value true, and if it's off it will have the value false. That means we can say if state, then else, and let's fill this with some sensible code. So if state means if this is true, it means the magnet is on, so we would like to deactivate the magnet. So we would like to write a false in this active parameter. So very easy, sim dot, guess what you want to do. You want to set script simulation parameter. Okay, it's pretty intuitive. So number script handle, again this is suction, comma, and then parameter name active, and we want to turn it off, right? So this is a string parameter value, so false. Okay, and in addition we would like to change the text of the button to be deactivated. So SimUI, now we are talking about the user interface, and oops, okay, I did not yet pass this parameter, very important, SimUI dot. Okay, what we want to set button text. Okay, set button text, and number handle is the UI, is the user interface. Number ID is the button. Number 8, and now simply the text deactivated. Okay, and we're already done. Simply copy paste true, activated. Okay, that's it. That should be it. So let's lower this. No, it's not working. Nice, it's activated. Okay, nice. My mouse is not working very nicely. But you see, it's pretty cool. So what I also like is these last selected object positions, so it really tells you where the object is. For example, I have selected the mass, so let me deactivate it. Okay, nearly. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I hope you enjoyed the video and have fun.